catching up now with Matt Perry. He is the Executive Director of New Zealand for FEBC, and talking today about an incredible program based in the Ukraine for women. It's called Embrace, and as we head towards International Women's Day tomorrow, it just seemed so apt to talk about that one. So welcome to the show firstly, Matt. It's great to have you here.
Thank you very much. Kia ora, good morning. It's good to be with you.
So let's talk about, where do we start with Ukraine? We could talk about the situation in Ukraine, but I wondered today if we could focus in on a story of hope, really, a hope for some of the women there. A program for women called Embrace, especially aimed at women whose husbands, fathers and sons are away fighting.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, there's a lot of talk about Ukraine for a lot of reasons, some of them not so much, not so enlightening, we could say, politically. But this program, Embrace, has been going just since last year. There have been a number of programs, of course, that have risen up specifically for groups of people like soldiers, returned soldiers, and so on. But as we've seen over the last couple of years, women, of course, are suffering in unique ways in Ukraine. And the beautiful reality is that they are, and many people are more open to the gospel. They're more open to spiritual conversations, the realities of life in this life and the life to come. People are more open than ever before. And what our guys there, a wonderful team of women and men running the station tirelessly throughout the whole time, is that they developed a program. They just knew that women needed to be brought together and they needed to be embraced. And of course, ultimately, it's because everybody needs the embrace of Jesus, the touch of God and a personal relationship with him. So that is always the ultimate, that is always the objective of programs. And in that, the program is both on air. And this is the beauty of radio, isn't it? You're very well aware of this. You're on air, you're talking to people, it's very sound and audio. But we can and we do gatherings. So this is radio programs with psychologists and pastors and talkback and bringing people together to chat and help people through anxiety, grief, loneliness, sorrow, all sorts of those very challenging mental health issues that we don't know of in New Zealand in terms of being in the middle of a war, and then being alone or raising the children on your own because your husband is away fighting and that kind of thing. So it's on air, but it's also face to face. And so they gather people in all sorts of cities across Ukraine in the recording studio, and they do some programs live as sitting around chatting and getting some real stories. And so it's trying to be it is very insightful, and it's trying to be very personal. And we're proud to be sponsoring it and from New Zealand and helping women all over Ukraine.
Yeah, I think it's so important, isn't it? Because sometimes when you're away from that situation, you forget about just the realities and the misery of war. It takes a huge toll on people, particularly women and children losing fathers and sons and the loved ones around them. So I love the name, Embrace. It's that sort of comforting warmth that you can picture as a result of it.
Absolutely. You can imagine getting together with a group of women. You've heard the same program. Maybe you've been part of a prayer gathering or just listening into the prayer gatherings, the prayer meetings every night on the radio, and you get together. And there's some beautiful stories of them coming together and women becoming friends or embracing. And of course, they have a very deep thing in common, but they've been part of the same journey on air. Maybe they've heard each other pray, heard each other tell a story. And so there's this instant rapport. And then they minister to each other. Now, most of these people have never read the Bible. They don't go to church. They're from an Orthodox background, most of them, the large majority. And so they come together, and they're most likely in a studio or in a community center, maybe a church, but most likely somewhere more neutral. And there is this embrace. There's an embrace together. There's the embrace of the great teaching and content and the encouragement. And so it's very apt. And the other thing is that many of these women, like you said before, have lost a lot. But a lot of women in Ukraine have carry a bigger load than they ever had. So there's loss and then there's burden. They're running, to some extent, women are running families, businesses, departments in a way in Ukraine that they never had opportunity necessarily before, because there aren't so many men around. We're talking hundreds of thousands of people in these situations,
Yeah.
maybe millions, probably millions.
Now, you actually have a story of someone as well, Christina, who has been really impacted by the work of Embrace.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
I wonder if you could
Christina,
share that with us. Yeah.
lots of lovely stories, beautiful stories of growth and friendship and salvation. Christina is in the city of Zaporizhia. Zaporizhia is in the southeast. It's that big city that is very near Europe's biggest nuclear power plant. The Russian army control the nuclear power plant, and it's been in the news for the last 3 years because it's such a vulnerable, such a risky thing. But down the road, less than an hour away, is the big city of Zaporizhia that is sort of the labor supply place for that plant. And it's a very challenged place. And Christina came along to one of our meetings there, and she wasn't following Jesus. She'd heard it on the radio, and she came along very tentatively, very cautious, entered into the conversation. Anyway, over time, she picked it up. She's a leader, and she loved what she heard. She loves the Lord as a result of this, and in a beautiful, gentle way, she started organizing more meetings in other parts of the city. So this is just one of those beautiful growth and organic salvation and blessing others stories, where she took up the leadership and took up the mission to bless others. And so organic, other women's meetings are starting. They're beyond us. And I mean, this will be happening. It happens all over the world, happens in China, happens in other countries too. She's now leading other women to form gatherings and bring people together, share their stories. And then that we give them gift packs. So part of the sponsorship is they get a little gift pack when they come together. They get prayer help, they get a Bible, obviously in their language, they get booklets and biblical material. They even get some beauty products and some skincare things. You know, many of them testify to just focusing on the needs of their children, the needs of their husbands and partners on the front lines. And they say, you know, I'm not looking after myself, you know, and that's very understandable. A simple little thing like that, with the Bible, with the prayer things, some hand cream, face cream, something to take care of yourself. And so Christina, like several others, is part of this new network of gathering women, pointing them to the program on the radio, bringing them together, caring, sharing, giving them these gift packs, and creating a community of women who need each other and need the Lord.
Matt, thank you so much for sharing. We need stories of hope, don't we? Like in all
Always.
situations, always, right? And that certainly is a story of hope. If you want to be a part of it, of course, I'm sure you can through the FEBC website. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. And there it is, febc.nz on my ID there, febc.nz. And on the front page, there is a latest video from Ukraine. It's about 4 minutes long, and it's got some insights into behind the scenes, people, studios, what's going on, men and women. Have a look. It's encouraging. Starts off with a bit of a burst of the war, and then it gets into the hope stories that follow.
Yeah, we certainly need it. Hey, thanks again for being a part of the show. Matt Perry from FEBC, that is febc.nz. Thanks for joining us on Rhema. Now, if you found value in today's content, hit that like button. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to our channel with the subscribe button. This really helps us to continue to produce more quality content for you. And hey, if you'd like to stay updated and never miss any of our future videos, ring that notification bell as well. Don't forget to follow us on our other socials, which are in the description below. And until then, stay tuned.